everyone, and welcome to the Husky Hotseat, the show for students, parents, and staff to get to know the Hubble community. I'm your host, Eric Elftmann. Each week on Husky Hotseat, you and I get to sit down with a member of our Hubble staff to ask them the answers to the tough questions. This week, I'm here with Dr. Jen Wolfe. Jen is the mom of two daughters, Bailey and Sarah, both currently at Batavia High School, where my daughters also attend. Jen teaches social studies, reading, and language arts, although she has also played the role of reading specialist, district reading coach, and trainer. Dr. Wolfe has been in education for 25 years, with 14 of those years at Hubble. Jen, thank you so much for being here. I want to start by asking just a little bit about your career. You've taught at several schools in the district, but said that Hubble feels most like your home. Can you put your finger on exactly why that is?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on this amazing podcast. I definitely feel like Hubble is a home for me because of the staff who are here. I have so many teaching heroes, genuinely, who are in this building. Sometimes I joke and say, when I grow up, I'm going to be like Mr. Balzer or Mrs. Murray. I think the staff here really does this job so much from the heart, and they take so much out of this building to look for things to bring back in to really connect with kids. I feel like everybody here is so passionate about what they do, and it feels incredible because I'm still passionate about what I do. It feels really incredible to have a group of people around me who really feel the same. And it's impressive to me the number of people who, like I said, do things outside of the building that they're so excited about. So that's something that I do feel really at home, just with a bunch of passionate people who care about this as, you know, a place to grow little humans instead of this is my job where I just show up and work.
Okay. Speaking of showing up and working, how did you get into the career to begin with?
Oh my goodness, that's such a funny question. So I feel like in my youth especially, I sort of was just floating through life. I was always kind of a really naughty kid in school. So I was class clown in middle school and high school. And at one point in high school, I actually got kicked out for my misbehavior. And I was sitting down in the guidance counselor's office waiting to be counseled about my poor choices. And my counselor asked me where I was going to go to college. And I wasn't planning on going to college at all. And I also, at that point, I wasn't in the military. I didn't have any plans. I didn't know what I was going to do. And so, you know, he kind of started talking to me about why don't you want to go? Why wouldn't you go? And so I did some time in the military. And when I got out, I still hadn't picked a school. I still didn't know what I wanted to be. I just didn't know. Eventually, I started kind of just getting pieces of mail from SIU and just filling it out. And the next thing you know, I was enrolled.
Okay, so just random, whatever school first sent you a piece of mail.
Yeah.
So it works. The system works.
It totally works. Yeah. So I never visited until I moved in that day. And I started out actually as a psychology major, which I pursued that. In fact, that's why I'm allowed to teach social studies, because I almost have a double major in psychology. But I realized I would be a really depressed person if I had to carry the weight. I'm bad at letting things go. And so my next sort of step, I had this really incredible teacher who just touched me, I think, with her enthusiasm and her joy. And, you know, I kind of thought, I want that to be me. I think I could do that with kids. And so here I am 25 years later, bringing the hype.
Okay, yeah, clearly that's still there. That's awesome. After 25 years, what still motivates you as a teacher? That teacher is a great example. And clearly they probably were somewhere in their career where they'd been there for a little bit and still bringing the hype or bringing the joy. How does that work?
Oh, wow. Such a good question. I feel like the best part of my job and the part that helps me bring the hype is when I kind of am able to talk to a kid who doesn't like school and maybe get them to realize how smart they are, how capable they are. I think one of the things about teaching middle school, like, our kids are so incredible and they don't realize it yet. So many of them have this whole I don't think I can, or I'm too young, or whatever. And then you get kids who at some point, especially I feel like in 8th grade, they just take this huge stride and all of a sudden they start believing in themselves, or they make a huge change in this year in particular. And I always think of this kid who I had a couple years ago. He was a refugee from Ukraine, and this kid hated reading and hated me. And he ended up, I was like, you know what? We're going to do this book together, these I Survived books. And, he's just learning English. And at one point he told someone else, I hate the Dr. Wolfe. But he ended up getting really hooked on these books and then started loving reading and started loving school. And, still now he's long out of here and he still messages me and, I still communicate with this kid. And so I think that's something that really helps me, stay motivated and helps me really love this job, because you just get this opportunity that we're just so lucky,
So for that particular student, you found a series of books that he loved, but what's like maybe a more general way that you find that you're motivating kids that aren't into reading?
Yeah, I think just listening to kids. And I feel like this is so cliche that people say, well, if you don't love reading, it's because you haven't found the right book. And what I have really found over and over again is kids who really hate reading just haven't actually finished a book. And so sometimes books that aren't even really that good, maybe it's me recording myself reading the book for the student, or sitting with a kid and saying, we're going to finish this book, you and I together. You're not getting out of this one. And then kids are like, wow, that was so good, even when it isn't actually so good. And I don't know, I hilariously got this letter a couple years ago from a kid who I taught, oh my gosh, right when I first got here, it must have been like 2010. He wrote me this letter and said, that's still the only book in your class. It's the only book I ever finished. It was definitely on the sassy side of things.
Okay.
But he was like, best book I ever read,
The one and only book I finished.
The one and only book I finished. But he was like, yeah, I don't think I would have finished that book if it hadn't been for you.
So maybe it's a combination of the accomplishment of finishing a book, plus if you never get to the ending part of a book, you don't see what's so amazing about a story to begin with, right?
Correct. Yes, so true.
You are well known in the building as someone who makes good connections with students, and you just gave a couple great examples. What are some things that you think are crucial for teachers or parents looking to build those kind of connections?
I think for me, something has been just sitting and listening to kids. I feel like I'm always sort of drawn to kids who maybe do not like school. And maybe it's because when I was young, like I said, school was not my very favorite place to be. And I was kind of just a goofball. So just sitting with kids and really listening. And I think also when a kid has a really bad day, that was yesterday, right? The next day is a brand new day. So even if a student, comes in and they're maybe not so nice, or maybe, other teachers feel like the kid is a challenge, I think one thing that I do maybe a little differently is just recognizing every day is brand new and every kid has something really awesome. And the kids on the fringes sometimes are the kids who just need somebody the most. And I kind of gravitate toward those kids. And I don't know, for some reason, a lot of times they gravitate toward me too. So I don't know.
Okay. Speaking of parenting, I mentioned before that you have 2 teenage daughters. So I have 2 kind of bookending questions. First, how has being a parent changed your teaching? And then vice versa, how do you think being a teacher has changed your parenting?
Oh, that's very thought-provoking. I feel like before I had kids, because I, was married for 7 years and teaching all of those years before I had kids, and always middle school during that time. And I think before you become a parent, it's really easy to sort of stack on a lot of work and perceive that school is the biggest thing in a kid's life. And it's not the biggest thing. It's an important thing and a big thing, but sort of piling on mountains of homework or not understanding when different things happen, a pet dies or something that maybe when you don't have kids, you're like, I'm really sorry about your dog. But then when you're in it with your own kids and you're like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, the things that cause major emotional trauma, you just don't understand until you're living it in your own house.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like the other thing about it being especially a middle school teacher, I acutely recognize that this is a finite time. Like, I'm so lucky to have these minutes with my kids and watching all these generations of kids grow older and move on. I think I appreciate my own kids, and especially this point in their lives, so much, because I realize, oh man, they're not here that long. They're going to be off at college, both of my kids, pretty soon. And goodness, I'm so lucky to have the time that I have with them. I guess the flip of that, of how has it made me a better parent, this is probably maybe not awesome, but I also feel like I've been in so many meetings where parents have just completely lost control of their kids. And I, going into parenting, was like, I never want that to be me, where I'm sitting at this table having no idea what to do with my child because I don't have a relationship, or I've been so permissive, or I've been whatever. So I'm probably a little more on the strict side with my own kids, but also building in time to just go on a trip together and build time where they want to actually hang out with me, because we have a relationship like that. So I feel like, as an educator sitting across the table from parents who makes me sad that their kid's just in their room with their headphones on all the time, build a relationship early.
All right. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Portrait of a Middle Schooler, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. Hey, Huskies, we are back with our guest, Dr. Wolfe, and I hope you're ready for one of our favorite segments, Portrait of a Middle Schooler. Strange fashion choices, weird hobbies, old nicknames, they're all about to come back and haunt you, Dr. Wolfe. I want you to take a moment, and you kind of described a little bit about your class clown persona. Tell us a little bit what you were like in school, maybe what activities you were involved in or not involved in, and if you have any embarrassing middle school stories, this would be a great time to drop those too.
Oh man, I feel like my middle school life was genuinely a blooper reel unfolding endlessly. I played some sports. I was on the basketball team, primarily right at the end of the bench. I did not see a lot of time on the basketball court. And when I was on the court, my most epic game was when I took a ball straight to the face.
Oh, no.
And then my teammate ended up catching it and making the basket.
So assist.
I will take that as an assist. Yep. I honestly was not a great athlete, but I always won the Spark Plug Award, which means you're not that great, but you sure are cheerful about not being great. So that is one of my sports memories. I think my middle school memory that stands out the most was this really bold move that I decided to take to become part of student council. So I went to a really small school, and in order to be part of student council, you had to give a speech in front of the entire school. So everyone was sitting out in the gym. And I had, this is, I'm sure, shocking, had previously been a very quiet person. I was really shy. I was always, super self-conscious. And I just made this decision. That's it. This is my year. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do this thing. So I made this whole skit, which was different because most people just did a little speech. I dressed up as a cowgirl. I called myself Big Jay. And I asked these popular kids, of which I was not one, to be part of my skit. And I had this rope and I lassoed them and I was like, you're going to be a Big J voter. And so my friends, even now, from back home, still refer to me as Big J, still from middle school. I got the spot on student council, and that honestly broke me out of my shell, which probably people were like, go back in. How about that?
Wow. I kind of like the idea, though, of just like deciding today I'm no longer an introvert. Do you think that actually you weren't all along and you just hadn't let that side out, or?
That is something to consider. I feel like with my friends, I was always, goofy and just did my own little thing. But I had this perception that, well, those are the cool kids. And I am not one of those cool kids. I'm just over here with my little group. And I think I just got tired of sort of being not one of the people in the action, and I was like, why can't I be in the action? I'm going to be in the action, and this is my way of doing it. So
I had a similar experience. When I went to college, I went to the University of Illinois, so pretty big school.
Yeah.
And I just decided on the first day of class, I'm going to start introducing myself. Like in the dorkiest, hello, I'm Eric. But I met so many friends that way because everyone was looking to meet people. So just being the first person to talk made it easy for anyone. And I don't typically do that, but that was just like a decision I felt like needed to be made. And same as you, I was a little bit more introverted, was not looking to get a lot of attention, but I felt like this is the way to make friends, and it actually worked.
Right.
Is there anything about that time of your life besides, dressing up as a cowboy that you're nostalgic for?
I definitely, weirdly, 8th grade was my best year of school ever. Including high school, including college. I loved 8th grade. I think really because it was such a turning point for me as a person. That's, I finally was doing different activities. Our student council, weirdly, was pretty active, and we actually did some things. So I think if I am thinking back on it, those times were really happy times. So even though I wasn't some kind of sports hero of school, I always, kind of got to do a lot of things because I was finally confident enough to get in the mix with different people. And so I think that would be the thing that I always look back at that time as just fun. And I think in my own teaching, I want these 8th graders to have that experience too. So I think I try to call some kids out who I'm like, there's a gem hidden in there. Bring it out.
With that in mind, knowing what you know now as an adult, what piece of advice would you give your middle school self, or any middle schooler, really?
I think don't doubt yourself. And I guess that's what middle school primarily is made up of, just doubts and worries and trying to figure out exactly who you are. But I feel like this is also the year that a lot of students really figure out this is who I'm going to be and who I want to be and what I like about myself. So I'm going to run with it, 8th grade and beyond. So I would say my advice is don't be afraid to say this is who I am and I'm going to run with it. Even if you're dressed as a cowgirl, as Big J, run with it.
Love it. All right, we're going to take another break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, Pack. We are still hanging with our guest, Jen Wolfe. We've heard a lot about your teaching experience, but I'd love to dig into some of your adventures because you travel more than Flat Stanley. So bear with me here for a second. I did a little research, which means Facebook stalking. In the past couple of years, you have toured Greece, climbed Machu Picchu in Peru, visited family in Zambia, climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, saw a Lucha Libre show and scubaed in Mexico, visited the Eiffel Tower in Paris, rode horses in Nashville, skied in Tahoe and Steamboat Springs, saw glaciers in Alaska, helicopter toured Hawaii, and went hiking in the Pacific Northwest, where, by the way, you hit state number 47 of 50 on your list. So my first question is, did I leave anything out?
Oh my goodness, no, you are well researched, sir.
And in reality, my question here is, what leads you to this? Last time we talked to Jen Wachter, she's also really into travel and adventures, and she said it was about natural curiosity. And I'm wondering, is that what drives you? Is there something else that drives you to do so many things?
Well, this is sort of a different perspective that might be surprising. So when I got home from basic training in the military, I couldn't start school right away because my training had led into the school year. So I was going to have to start a semester late. And obviously, I had to get a job. So I ended up working at a nursing home, which was probably the most impactful job that I could have had in that moment because I found myself in an Alzheimer's component of this nursing home. And I just felt like I never want to be this person and feel like I missed something. I want to go everywhere. I want to see everything. And even if I can't remember it, doggone it, I'm going to have the videos and the pictures. And I'm going to be like, wow, that stranger lived an awesome life. So definitely that is what has driven my travel. I want to see everything that there is to see. My girls and I have been on this 50 states quest, and we are almost done. In fact, over this break, I just planned out the last of it. We are going to hit the rest of the states this summer.
Awesome.
So
what's left?
So we've got Hawaii, which we're going to do at the end of June and beginning of July. And then we're going to do just a quick trip out to the East Coast before my daughter Bailey starts senior year. We've got Rhode Island and Connecticut.
Of course, yes.
Yes. So I wanted to do, maybe something next summer, but I feel like Bailey with college and the distance, and she actually loved Oregon when we were out there so much. That's where she wants to go to school. So I don't want to be like, but Rhode Island though. So yeah, we're gonna knock it out this summer, and that will genuinely be one of the great accomplishments of my life. I'm so stoked that we did it. We're just a little girl gang out taking on the states.
So are you guys getting like matching tattoos at that point, or what?
Oh man, I'm probably more of a matching t-shirt kind of girl.
Okay. Speaking about Bailey and Sarah, your daughters, I happen to know they're both great singers, also cross-country runners. But what I really want to talk about is water skiing. Since I've known you guys, this has always kind of blown my mind. For several years, they've both been in professional water skiing shows. Can you tell us a little bit how they got into that and the kind of things that they do?
Sure. So they are not pro, but they do ski on a team up in Wisconsin. It's called Southern Wakes United. And I feel like they didn't really actually have a choice because their father actually did ski professionally. That was his paid occupation. And so I, once upon a time, was also in these water ski shows because that's what we did. We have a spot up in Wisconsin, and that was every weekend of summer from the time that they were 3 years old. They were skiing, at 4 behind the boat. They both love it. They love performing, especially my younger daughter, Sarah, is really she loves jumping. She may end up skiing in college. Both my kids run now, and they're both like, no chance we're running in college. We're going to ski. So it is, likely that they'll end up at a school with a water ski team and kind of carry on that family legacy.
So you have the background knowledge here. Can you describe like one of the things that they do trick-wise, just so people can visualize that?
Yeah. So I'll describe the one that I used to participate in myself because it's the one that most people think of, and it is climbing a human pyramid. So once upon a time when I was on the ski team, I wasn't a great water skier myself, but you don't have to know how to ski to be in a human pyramid. All you have to do is have a strong core and some pretty steady nerves. So I never made it past the second tier of the pyramid, but both of my girls were 4 high at one point at the top of this pyramid. So it's so interesting. You're just sitting on a guy's shoulders and the boat takes off and then everybody just starts climbing and it's quiet. I mean, there's one person giving directions and you're shuffling yourself over on shoulders, and eventually, you got yourself steady and you have to lift someone else's foot up onto your shoulder, and then they're just pulling up. It feels like a circus on water because it honestly kind of is. And then you're just holding on for dear life. Don't let me be the one to topple the pyramid. And so, yeah, it's been really cool for my kids, both as the little ones who were climbing to the top to now, you get knocked down a couple of levels as you get older and a little heavier or whatever. So just watching them kind of coaching other kids too and celebrating when their team does really well. It's been amazing, and watching them, bring in pretty awesome tricks. That's been fun to see as well.
What a very cool experience for you guys to do together. That's great. All right, Huskies, we are going to take one more short break, and we'll be back with our final segment, and you are not going to want to miss this one. All right, Huskies, before we go, it's time for Throw the Dog a Bone. Each episode, we like to sign off by answering one completely random question. Jen does not know the question I'm about to ask, and I have no idea what she's going to say, so things could get interesting. Okay, I think a lot of the Hubble community knows that you have some previous military experience. With that in mind, I think what they've all been wondering is, if you had to, do you think you could take down our principal, Dr. Pilkington?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, I mean, the size discrepancy, that would be a challenge.
But I'm assuming you have some secret knowledge of
Oh
combat.
my goodness. I do have a hidden skill set. So part of what we had to learn in basic training, we had to do this hand-to-hand combat. And in doing so, we learned all of the pressure points in the head. So if push came to shove,
Say it. Go ahead. Say it.
it is possible that I might be able to, but gosh, I don't know. When I got back from basic training, I had an older cousin. We were visiting my grandma, and I thought I could take him down. And so we started fighting with these brooms. I was like, yeah, take that, take that. And then, he was also size-wise much bigger than I. And I was like, no, you have to stand like this so I can do what I had learned there. So I don't know. It depends. Dr. Pilkington might himself have a hidden skill set.
That's true. That's something we have not found out
He
yet.
looks like a ninja sometimes on those skates. I feel like there could be a spin move involved, but...
And he's a hockey player, so he probably does know how to fight. Oh, this is tough. We'll call it 50-50 shot.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's fair.
That is a great way to end our show. Thank you for listening to Husky Hotseat. I want to thank our guest, Dr. Jen Wolfe, for her time. If you see Dr. Wolfe around the Hubble community, say hello and maybe ask her something about what you heard on the show, her many travels, Big J, her bold claims about Dr. Pilkington. And if you liked what you heard on Husky Hotseat today, remember to subscribe to the show. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and pretty much anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. If you really want to help the show grow, please leave a review on your podcast app of choice. And finally, spread the news about the show to people you know. The internet is great, but the goal of Husky Hotseat is to build connection within our Hubble community. So the more staff, parents, and students that listen, the tighter we become. Remember, Huskies, none of us are lone wolves. We work best in a pack. See you next time.